Hello everyone, welcome to the session. Last sessions we discussed about fundamental aspects of OD and some features, principles, and certain components of design aspects. Today I am going to deal about core principles of OD and some of the challenges and opportunities and present problems pertaining to organization design and development, friends. Let us all moving to the detailed discussion. Organizational design is essentially the blueprint of how a company integrates people, information, and technology to execute its business strategy. See, think of it as architecture of a building, how a building should have base, right? Without a solid design or base, even the strongest material won't hold together. In the same way, without organizational design, even the best strategies may collapse because the structure is not built to support them. See, now the first key point is organizational design is holistic one, non-stop process. It is not just about the drawing an organization chart or deciding who reports to whom. It is about the social architecture of the workplace. The invisible systems that shape how people interact, how decisions are made, and how collaboration flows. Say, for example, two companies may have identical organization charts, but one thrives while others struggle. Why? Because they don't have a strong organizational design and structure. Because the culture communications are dominating a lot or facilitating a lot, and trust embedded in the design are different, friends. Secondly, organizational design is always purpose driven. Why? The ultimate goal is not bureaucracy. It is effectiveness, innovation, and engagement, friends. As a whole, a well designed organization creates clarity of roles, reduces friction, duplication, and motivates employees to contribute their best. When people understand how their work connects to the larger mission, they feel empowered and engaged. So that purpose driven is very important component of organizational design facets. It is applicable to each and every organization, friends. And the design is about a non-stop evolution. It is never done actually. Markets shifts, technology advance, customer expectations rise more, and the organization must adopt. So treating design as a one-time project is a mistake. Instead, it must be seen as a living system, constantly adjusting to external and internal changes, friends. Correct? It is applicable to all the nature of organization, irrespective of scale. See, let us give you a small example. See, imagine a company that has always operated under a hierarchical, that is called the command and control model. See, decisions are always centralized. That is called management. Employees wait for instructions and the innovations are very slow. Now, picture that same company transitioning into a network of teams. Suddenly, teams are empowered to make decisions. Collaboration increases. Agility improves dramatically. This shift in design can be the difference between staying relevant and becoming obsolete, friends. Similarly, the another example is the shift many organizations faced during the pandemic COVID situation. Overnight, companies had redesigned themselves for remote work, partially online, partially offline. Those with flexible, adaptive designs thrived while rigid hierarchical structure struggled to keep up. Right? See, in summarize, in nutshell, organized design is the blueprint for strategy execution. It is holistic one, encompassing culture, communication and collaboration. It's purpose driven, aiming improve effectiveness, innovation and engagement, friends. And it is a living system, consecutively evolving with market shift. There are some core features that is characteristics of OD. Alignment with the strategy. What we call alignment strategy? The design reflects and supports the organization long-term competitive goal. That is called it should be aligned with vision, mission, or short-term aim and all. If the strategy is innovation, the design encourages experimentation. If the strategy is efficiency, the design empathizes streamlined processes with respect to product and services. Any company, you can take example. See, for your understanding, let me say one example. A logistics company focused on cost leadership will design centralized hubs to maximize efficiency. Yes? Okay. See, like that, we have another core characteristics called internal consistency. What do you call internal consistency? That is called structure, rewards, and processes work in harmony. That is, misalignment creates friction. Say, for example, rewarding collaboration but structuring teams in silos undermines performance. So, we need to take care where we need to maintain the internal consistencies, right? Definitely, as a person looking for reward, we need to provide. See, a consulting firm aligns its team based reward system with a cross functional project structure. See, each and every department cluster won't be matchable, won't be matched. That is called the internal consistency. And apart from that, one is called adaptability. What you call adaptability? The design is resilient and flexible enough to handle shocks. That is called more absorption. See, market shift, crisis occur, and technology evolves. A rigid design collapses under pressure. So while an adaptable one pivots smoothly, see companies quickly shifted to remote work during the pandemic demonstrated adaptability. See, in the situation, how we need to manage these things. Correct? So internal consistency also should be there. Adaptability also should be there as one of the features of an organization development. And very importantly, we can deal something called clarity of decision rights. See, authority is clearly defined, reducing operational friction. So, free flow of communication should be there. To whom we need to meet, to whom we may order, to whom we may extract the work, we should know. So, authority hence clearly defined and reducing the operational stacks. See, ambiguity slows down execution always. So we should be doubly cautious. Clear decision rights empower employees and prevent bottlenecks. So in a fast moving technology firm, local autonomy allows engineers to push updates without waiting for multiple approvals. If you are doing something, it should be reflected in the results. We should not be always lethargic with respect to results. Okay, these are all the quite some core characteristics of organization design component. Yeah, next I'm going to deal something about agile and networked model. See, order of the day we need to discuss this without fail. Correct? This agile and networked model giving a powerful push to the organizational design. This approach represents a fundamental shift in how work is organized, moving away from rigid hierarchies and static job description toward dynamic, mission driven collaboration. At its core, the agile and networked model empathizes adaptability, speed, and the ability to harness collective intelligence both inside and outside the organization. See, more or less, how the stakeholders are expecting something from the organization in a unique one. That's what we are all moving ahead, agile and networking model. See, teams over task. This is the first component under agile and networking model that is called from jobs to mission. See, one of the defining features or nature of this model is the idea of teams over task. In traditional organization fronts, individuals are assigned fixed roles and responsibilities, often tied to a specific job description. See, agile organization, however, form fluid teams around missions. What I am saying, however, form fluid teams around missions. These teams comes together to accomplish a specific project or goal. And once the mission is complete, they dissolve, freeing members to join new initiatives. This creates a sense of purpose of flexibility. It also allows organization to respond quickly to changing market conditions. Say, for instance, I'll tell you, a company launching a new digital product might assemble a cross functional team of designers, engineers, and marketers who collaborate intensively until the product is released, then move on a new missions. Correct? This is a facet of teams over task. The next component under the agile and networking model, ecosystem thinking, that is called extended design. Right? See, another key principle is the ecosystem thinking, which are increasingly looking beyond their own walls to partner with startups. This kind of organization, under the ecosystem thinking, they are all inviting freelancers and even competitors. This extended design allows to tap into specialized expertise and fresh perspectives that may not exist internally. Think of it as a smartphone that becomes more powerful through the apps it hosts. The organization is the platform, and the external partners are the apps that expand its capabilities. By embracing ecosystem thinking, companies can innovate faster and remain competitive in a rapidly evolving landscape. This is the message in the ecosystem thinking. See, followed by that, speed to value. That is called iteration and experimentation under the agile component. Speed to value is another hallmark of the agile and networking model. See, rather than striving for perfection before releasing a product or service, or organization focus on iteration, testing ideas quickly, learning from failures, and adopting in real time. We need to accept the mantra here, fail fast, learn faster. Again, I'm telling, fail fast, learn faster with respect to organization design component. Tech startups exemplify this approach by releasing beta versions of products, gathering user feedback, and consecutive improvement. Okay, so this is called iteration and experimentation. I told you, right? The cycle of rapid experimentation definitely will give more value to the organization, friends. And next, self-organizing units. See, equally important is the concept of self-organizing units. In this model, the teams are given autonomy to choose their own methods, tools, and processes, provided they deliver the required outcomes. This freedom fosters creativity, ownership, and accountability. A well known example is Spotify's squads and tribes model. See, whatever I'm telling, little bit of, tech based, correct? And I think you are going to appear for the assessment and all MCQ. That question will be there. So, what is the terminology known as Spotify's? You put it as squads and tribes model, you will get 2 or 3 marks. So, squads are small, autonomous teams that operate like mini startups, while tribes are collections of squad aligned around shared missions. Correct? So, this structure allows for independence at the team level while maintaining alignment with the broader organization goal. It is a balance of autonomy and a cohesion that empowers teams without sacrificing strategic direction, friends. Followed by that, the last one, implication for leadership and culture. See, the implication for leadership and culture are really profound. Leaders must shift from a command and control mindset to one of coaching and enabling. The role is less about micromanaging tasks and more about setting missions, more about setting visions, providing a lot of resources, and removing obstacles. Culturally, organization must embrace trust, transparency, and a tolerance for future. Experimentation becomes a norm, and the flexibility is valued over rigid adherence to process. Really, this requires a mindset shift not only for leader but for the employees as well, who must be comfortable with ambiguity and change. So these are all called the important components. See, in nutshell, as a conclusion, agile and networked model represent a new way of thinking about a work and set of tasks and responsibilities. It is built on missions rather than the jobs, ecosystems rather than the silos, iteration rather than the perfection, autonomous rather than the control. Spotify's squads and tribes illustrates how autonomy and alignments can coexist, offering a glimpse into the future of organizational design. As we move forward, agility won't simply be a method. It will be mindset of an individual, essential for thriving in a world defined by constant change. You should accept, friends. Here, some of the points are in the emerging trends in OD, that is design component. AI-driven structures, hyper-personalized learning development, hybrid flexible work model, human-centered design, and culture and purpose alignment, technology integrated workspaces, resilience and risk management conference. See, the organization design is undergoing a profound transformation as we move into the year 2026. The forces driving this change include artificial intelligence, workforce flexibility, and the renewed emphasis on human centered structure. See, whatever I'm telling, it is applicable to all the industry organization as well. Companies are no longer content with rigid hierarchies. Instead, they are all embracing adaptive, correct? Resilient and purpose driven models. See, in this session, I will explore 8 key trends that illustrate how organizations are evolving to meet the challenges of a rapidly changing the world. Correct? See, number one, AI driven structures. Compare with other countries, we are all in still in consistently not progressing with respect to AI driven, where we are all finding AI, where we are all making use of AI for different purposes. Even automotive sector, pharma, health science, medical field, technology, manufacturing, etc. See, AI is becoming a foundational element of OD. Don't think that OD is a development. Organizational design is a OD, right? This course is mix of two things. Organizational design and development component. First component, design. See, beyond automating a routine task, AI is now embedded in decision-making processes, predictive analysis, analytics, and talent management systems. This integration enhances efficiency and provides leaders with powerful insights. Friends, however, the challenge lies in striking a balance. While AI can optimize operations, human creativity, empathy, and judgment remain irreplaceable. Irreplaceable. See, all the organization must design structures that leverage AI without diminishing the human element. You should not forget, correct? Organization must design structures that leverage AI without diminishing the human element. Followed by that, the another important component is hyper personalized learning development. Learning and development are shifting away from standardized training programs toward individualized learning journeys. Employees are increasingly offered tailored skill building paths that reflect their roles, predominantly increasing their performance, career aspirations, and performance data. Correct? This personalization fosters engagement and ensures that talent development aligns with the organization needs. By investing in customized learning, companies create a culture of consecutive growth and adaptability, preparing their workforce for future challenges. And the hybrid flexible work model also one of the predominant components are there in the recent trends in organization development. See, hybrid work has become the default mode of operation. Many offices are being redesigned to support both in-person collaboration and virtual teamwork. While employees enjoy greater autonomy in managing their schedules, flexibility is not simply about location. Again, I'm telling you, flexibility is not merely talks about a location. It is about empowering individuals how to work in ways that maximize productivity and satisfaction. So leaders must now focus on building trust, maintaining cohesion, and ensuring equity across hybrid teams. And two more components: human centered design, agile adaptive structures. Friends, organizations are increasingly prioritizing employee well being, inclusion, and psychological safety. The three things are definitely eyed by various employees in different levels. Human centered design empathizes structures that foster trust, belonging, and resilience. This approach recognizes that innovation thrives when employees feel safe to share ideas and take risks. Companies that embed will being into their organizational design not only improve. See, wherever we are moving to the company always focusing about well-being. See, their organizational design not only improve performance but also strengthening the loyalty and engagement of an employee. What do you mean by engagement? Emotional involvement, commitment of an individual known as engagement, friends. And agile, adaptive structures. Rigid hierarchies are giving way to agile, project based teams that can adapt quickly to market shift, right? These fluid structures enable organization to respond to innovation cycle with speed and flexibility, correct? While agility enhances responsiveness, it also requires careful coordination to avoid fragmentation and maintain the strategic coherence. Friends, see, culture and purpose alignment also one of the important component under the recent development or recent challenges in organizational design part. See, employees increasingly expect organization to align with the social values and the sustainability goals. Culture is no longer treated as HR policy, but as a strategy asset. Understand? Culture is no longer treated as an HR policy, but as a strategic asset. Purpose driven organization attract talent, inspire commitment, and build trust with the stakeholders. Companies like Patagonia demonstrate how integrating social responsibilities into organizational design strengthens both brand and employee engagement. Leaders must recognize that culture and purpose are central to long term success. Correct? See, leaders must recognize the culture and the purpose are central to long term success of an organization, friends. Correct? Next part is technology integrated workplace. Technology integrated workspaces. See how workplaces are evolving into smart environments that integrate IoT, collaboration platforms, and immersive technology such as AR, VR. These technology enabled spaces are designed to balance productivity, correct? See, people are expecting off late. See, human interaction also to be part and parcel of these kind of recent developments. Say, for example, friends, immersive tools allow remote engineers to collaborate on complex projects as if they were physically present together. The future workspace is not just about efficiency, but about creating environments that foster creativity and connection, friends. So, what I am saying, Technology integrated workspaces is very, very important. Workplace is mandatory in an organization, friends. Whatever the organization, according to the size, they need to integrate technology integrated workspace, friends. And the last one, resilience and risk management. See, finally, it has become a core principle of organizational design. Companies must anticipate disruptions, whether economic, technological, or social, or embed adaptability into their structures. The pandemic highlighted, pretty well the environment. See, pandemic periods, the importance of flexible supply chains and proactive risk management. So leaders today prioritize resilience planning to ensure that the organization can withstand shocks and continue to thrive in uncertain environment, friends. So in nutshell, the organized design is defined by balance, the integration of AI with human creativity, flexibility with the structure, and technology with well-being. These trends highlights the need for leaders to design an organization that are adaptive, inclusive, and resilient. As a future managers and leaders and executives, your role will be to translate and transform these principles into practice, ensuring that organizations remain competitive while supporting the people who drive them forward. So you need to give more importance to people and workspaces. Organize. There are some challenges faced by organization with respect to design. See, there are some practical and often overlooked aspects of OD and challenges that prevent even well-planned structure from succeeding. It may be applicable to each and every organization, friends. We may design the most sophisticated organization on script or paper, but in reality, several barriers can derail its effectiveness. Sir, you have a question. So, what kind of critical challenges as of now, sir? Complexity overload, legacy systems, skill gaps, cultural inertia. So, these are all quite some challenges with respect to organizational design. The first component, complexity overload, right? See, organizational design is often perceived as a technical or structural exercise, but in realistic situation, practical manner, it is deeply influenced by real world constraints that make implementation challenging. See, one of the prominent challenges is complexity overload, which are to be addressed mandatory. See, in today's dynamic environment, the most organizations strive to achieve multiple, often conflicting objectives, such as being global yet local or fast yet safe. See, while these ambitions are strategically sound, they frequently result in overlying complicated structures. So, layers of reporting relationship, multiple approval mechanisms, and dual lines of authority create confusions among the employees. Instead of empowering people, such complexity slows decision making and reduces accountability. See, employees spend more time navigating the system than performing their core tasks. Thus, an effective organizational design is not the one that incorporates every possible contingencies. See, but the one that balances sophistication with simplicity and clarity. Right? See, another significant barrier to organizational design is the presence of legacy systems. What I am saying, legacy systems. See, these systems include overdated IT infrastructure, rigid organizational policies, and long-standing contractual obligations, specifically in unionized environments. So they act as structural anchors that restrict the organization's ability to adopt and evolve. For instance, a company may wish to adopt a more flexible, team based structure, but its existing technology platforms may not support cross functional workflows or real time collaboration. The kind of workflows, or we can say hierarchy, right? What is the flow with respect to chart, right? What kind of we have got a team. Similarly, deeply enriched policies and agreements may limit role flexibility or job redesign. So as a result, even well-intentioned design initiatives fail to achieve their desired outcomes. This highlights the importance of aligning organizational design not only with the strategy but also with the technological and institutional framework within which the organizational operators. The another one challenge is skill gaps. It is equally critical. Modern organizational designs increasingly emphasize decentralization, agility, and empowerment. There are some concepts called, agile teams, self-management, and distributed leadership require employees to take ownership, make a decision, and collaborate effectively without a constant supervision, friends. However, if the workforce lacks the necessary competencies such as leadership qualities, skill setup, problem solving ability, and above all, accountability. So, these are all very important, friends. These models can quickly break down at any cost. So, we should be so cautious. See, instead of improved performance, organization may experience confusion, duplication of efforts, and reduced efficiency as well. Friends, employees accustomed to hierarchical guidance may struggle in autonomous environments, leading to hesitation and errors. Therefore, organized design must be supported by consecutive learning and capability development. See, without right skill base, even the most progressive design framework remain always ineffective. Hope you understand. Perhaps the most powerful challenge is cultural inertia. Organizational culture represents the shared values, beliefs, and norms that shape behavior within the organization. A common manifestation of cultural inertia is the mindset. See, in an organization, friends, we need to mix with the people, technology, system, entire process. We cannot isolate. Correct? So there are a lot of resources available. We need to mix and map everything for achieving our common goal of an organization, friends. Correct? A common manifestation of culture in Asia is the mindset. Correct? This is how we have always done it. This resistance to change can undermine even the most carefully planned design transformations. The entire world is looking for transformational changes. If you want to make some changes, just like that, we can't expect the employee will accept or employee can adjust. Employee just like that, they can ready for the resistance. See, employees and leaders may consciously or unconsciously cling to familiar practices or rejecting new processes or structures, right? See, cultural inertia often leads to a lack of innovation, slow adoption of new systems, and passive resistance to change initiatives. Sometimes, we may coming out from the competition. See, unlike structural or technological barriers, cultural resistance is also very difficult to diagnose and even harder to change, as it requires a shift in attitude, behaviors over time. Consequently, successful organizational design must involve cultural alignments, ensuring that values and practices it evolve alongside structural changes for us. Correct? A practical example can help illustrate how these challenges interact well. Consider a traditional manufacturing company attempting to implement an agile organizational design. A company introduces cross-functional teams, reduces hierarchical layers, and promotes decentralized decision making. In practice, senior leaders continue to operate from a top-down perspective, holding on to authority and symbolic indicators of power, such as private officers. Employees, accustomed to clear instructions and hierarchical control, hesitate to take initiative or make independent decisions. Additionally, existing system and process may not support the flexibility required for agile operation. As a result, the initiative fails not because the design itself is flawed, but because the organization is not aligned in terms of culture, skill, and system. Friends, the culture, skill, system, whatever it should be applicable to all the organization. We can't say exception to this organization or that organization at all. See, this example probably clearly demonstrates the organizational design is not merely about the structural change. It requires a holistic transformation, friends. See, in conclusion, right, while organizational design is a critical driver of performance and competitiveness, it is fraught with the challenges that must be carefully managed. Complexity overload can make structures unmanageable. Legacy systems can restrict innovation. Even skill gaps can hinder execution. And the cultural inertia also can resist change. So these challenges, are interconnected and often reinforce one another. So making organizational transformation a complex process. Hence, all the leaders must adopt an integrated approach that aligns strategy, structure, system, skill, and culture. Again, I'm telling we need to approach that aligns strategy, structure, system, skill, and culture. Only when these elements are harmonized can organized design truly deliver its intended benefits and enable sustainable success. Again, I am recollecting what are the challenges faced by OD, that is called design component, complexity overload, legacy systems, skill gaps, cultural inertia.